This is a relaxer virgin application. So after I've done the proper setup and I've sectioned my head into fours, we're gonna get ready to start our application process. So the first thing that I'm going to do is sanitize my hands and apply protective cream around the hairline and tops of the ears. Depending on the type of relaxer, I may have to base the scalp, but we're gonna say that this is a no base relaxer. So we're going to apply it around the hairline. On the tops of the ears. Being careful not to touch the hair, because anywhere place that I touch the hair, the relaxer is not going to process over the top. So now that I've finished with that, I'm going to put my gloves on because I'm getting ready to start my application. And I have to wear gloves anytime that I touch a chemical. This is my relaxer product. And I'm going to place a paper towel over the hair that does not have product on it at this point in time because I do not want it to touch the hair that doesn't have product on it and start to process that before I'm ready. So I'm going to start in the back because that is where hair is the curliest. And I'm going to use my brush application. As I pick up my product, I want to apply this a 1/2 inch off the scalp. 1/2 inch is not very far. So a lot of times I'll put one of my fingers down here like this so I can judge where a 1/2 inch is, which would be about almost to the end of my finger, and bring this up to 1 inch from the ends and very lightly lay it over. Repeat the process. For the whole section. Making sure that this hair is thoroughly saturated and I have it all covered. And this is my first application, 1/2 inch off the scalp up to the porous ends. Remember, this is a relaxer, so we have to work kind of fast. When you get down to the bottom, it's real easy to take large sections. Don't do it and don't smash the sections together. Lay them very lightly. If they don't lay on top of each other and they want to fall down, which is probably what's gonna happen once I get farther down here. I guess I should mention that the sections that I'm taking on my subsections are about 1/4 inch thick to not even 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch to, or 1/8 inch to 1/4 inch. So I wanna make sure that I keep my sections small enough for the product to penetrate through without smashing it on top of the other hair. We just wanna very lightly lay that over. Remember, the larger the sections that you take, the harder it is to get an even application because you've got to penetrate through all of this hair, where when you take thinner sections, it seeps through to the other side. And if the section is too wide for you to hold in one hand, you can divide it in two. So it would be this section first, and then come across and get the other side if you need to divide it in two. But when you get down here at the bottom, don't just push it over and smash it on top of each other. You may have to hold it out a little bit so that it doesn't get all smashed on top of each other. So now that I have my section completed, I'm going to pull this down one by one on the way that I applied it. If I pull this down and I notice that I don't have enough product, I'm gonna come back still with my 1/2 inch section, or 1/2 inch off the scalp to my porous ends, pulling this down and applying it as needed. If you pull more than one, just separate it. You can see, if you don't have it smashed together, you can see where you have done your sectioning at. So I'm just going to apply this back out to my porous ends as I pull this back down. See there, I can tell that I have 2 sections right here. If you keep your sectioning neat and clean, this is going to make your job a lot easier. Now that I'm almost finished with this section, I'm getting ready to go back and do my next application, which is going to be on the scalp. So what I'm going to do once I get this finished is I'm going to start over on the scalp, and I'm going to pick up the section that I just did when I did it halfway up the scalp. And I'm going to go back and apply it to the scalp and just sort of make sure that I'm running it through the ends so that it's all, not through the ends, but to the ends, that it's all saturated now from the scalp up. Don't want to brush this on the scalp too much. I want to be right at the scalp, but not on the scalp. So now that I have this applied at the scalp, I'm going to get ready to start my smoothing. So I'm going to pull down the section that I have finished. And as I start to smooth, I can do it one of 2 ways. I can take the back of my comb, not the teeth, but the back, and smooth this hair out nice and straight as I'm coming down with it. Or I can use my fingers. And as I use my fingers, I'm going to make like little piece and come through here and just smooth this down. What you want to do when you're smoothing is make sure that you apply even tension and you keep the hair nice and smooth all the way down, making sure that this is getting through the ends. If my ends are not thoroughly saturated, I can come back through and come down with my product and apply this straight down and make sure that I have enough on here to cover it so that it is thoroughly saturated and smoothable all the way through the ends. If your hair gets kind of clumped together like mine just was, go ahead and take the end of your parting, or the end of your tail comb, or your tint brush, whichever one you're using, and use the back of it to smooth this out all the way through the ends. When you get done with your application, it should be nice and neat and smooth all the way down the head. If it's not, then you need to make sure you smooth this a lot better. Or you can use both. You can use the back of the comb and your fingers. When you get done with this, you want to do a test curl, or a test strand, I mean, not a curl, a strand. To see how it's processing. And anything that comes off on the back of the comb, if that's the technique that you choose to use, make sure that you put it back on the hair. When you finish with this, like I said, we want to do a test. So how do we do the test? Well, once this is all finished, we're going to take the back of the comb. This is known as a comb test. We're going to take the back of the comb and we're going to make an indentation in the hair with our comb. If it pops out right away, you need more processing time. If it stays indented like that, then that means that this hair needs to be rinsed off or shampooed off or neutralized now. So this is how you do your relaxer. You'll do the whole head. Start at the backwards, the curliest, you end up with it in the front. Once you finish your application all the way around, you're gonna come back in with your product and you're just gonna go right along the sectioning and you're gonna outline this and make sure that that section is thoroughly outlined, and you're gonna move to the next back section, then you're gonna move to the front two sections and outline this hair, making sure that it stays nice and smooth though. So you may have to go back and do additional smoothing to keep it that way. And make sure that you get around the hairline really nice and smooth also. Again, once it's reached its desired degree of straightness, that's when you're gonna go back and shampoo it or neutralize it, whichever product you're using, and take your client back to your chair and finish out the service. All right, that's it. That's your relaxer. Now you get to do it. Whole head.